Hello and welcome back to Exothermic Plays Games. I'm Exothermic and the date today is Friday, August 22nd, 2024. I've been doing a countdown of my favorite video games of all time through each day of the year, and coming in at number 131 is Wii Sports Resort. Resort is the sequel to the smash hit included with the Nintendo Wii title, Wii Sports, which I ranked as my 200th favorite game. The principles are the same, but there's a lot of upgrades to be had here. There's no story, there's almost no progression, just a handful of really well-made minigames with huge amounts of replayability. A couple of the more popular games from the first title make a return, like bowling and golf, but most things are new. First up is swordplay, which actually has a few things going for it. There's a couple of different modes, but all of it focuses on kendo-style sword fighting. You can duel against another person to knock them out into the water, or you can fight a whole horde of enemies as you make your way through a path to the destination. In a more true minigame fashion, you can do a race to cut through items in a specific direction. You're not just having to get the cut correct, but you need to be the first one to do it right in order to score the point. Next on the list is wakeboarding. Hold the Wiimote horizontally like you're holding onto the handles of a line attached to a boat. The goal here is to do tricks off the wake from the boat pulling you, gaining speed the more jumps you successfully land. As you tilt the controller, you change your balance, so sticking the landing is a little harder than it looks. If you flick the controller upwards when you go over the wake, you should be able to do all sorts of cool tricks to score even more points. Third is frisbee, which is pretty much just playing with my dog in a video game. The physics here aren't amazing, but they work. Ultimately, the frisbee is my dog's favorite thing to do in the world, so I don't care much about playing this in this game, despite it being done rather well with bonus points for hitting balloons and scoring more the closer you get to the target marker. I just, will play with my actual dog. Fourth is archery, which is really simple but good. Using the nunchuck, pull back on it to pull back on the bow, and then release the Z button to fire. Line up your shot with drop physics and wind modifying things slightly, sometimes actually a lot, also with a moving target. It's pretty tricky, but once you get used to it, a lot of fun. So fifth is basketball. I've ranked a few basketball games on my list, like NBA Jam, Backyard Basketball, which if you haven't seen yet, Backyard Sports is coming back, so I am pumped for that. NBA Live, and my favorite basketball game, NBA Street Volume 2. I really like basketball, like not just basketball games, but also as a overall sport. Wii Sports Resort's basketball game sucks. Like, it's awful. The 3-point contest might be fine with some more practice on the shooting form, but the actual pickup game mode is just terrible. The offense and defensive options are extremely limited, and there's absolutely no rebounding. When you take a shot, regardless of whether or not it goes in, the other team just gets the ball afterwards at half court. The clock stops, and there's a little cutscene and replay every single time this happens. It makes the pace of play painfully slow, and again, the mechanics are just not good. Moving on. After basketball is table tennis, which is admittedly very close to just the tennis game again from the first Wii Sports, but more appropriately handled for the amount of space and lack of actual character movement you do. It's fine, it's fun, it's a thing you can do. Power Cruising is a wacky jet ski racing game, and it's okay, but not amazing. You have to hold the controllers a little awkwardly, in my opinion, and a lot of it comes down to the timing of your boosts consistently more than the actual control and racing you do. Canoeing is something that should be amazing and is instead just pretty good. You can do it solo or as teams. The solo is fun, but I'm more interested in the team canoeing. While you can certainly make it work, the controls seem a little finicky for the level of control it wants you to do for going straight and synchronizing your paddling. So we wound up just having me more or less go non-stop, and my wife did whatever she needed to do for us to steer. That did work out, but I wish I could do more coordinated strokes. Cycling is the real workout of this game. You have the remote and the nunchuck, and you need to spin them to ride your bike. That's more or less the entire game. You're just spinning your arms in a circle furiously in front of you. There's also some leaning you can do for steering. You can also brake if you want for sharp turns, or you can and should look for opportunities to stop pedaling, like big downhill sections, or if you can get a draft from another racer. This is because there's a stamina system, and if you just go all out all of the time, you'll run out and get dazed for a bit. The reason this game is actually tiring is you're spinning your arms in front of you for like 5 minutes straight at a time. Go ahead and do that and tell me your arms aren't starting to get tired. This is a good thing. I do wish there was the option for like changing gears and stuff, but it's still pretty good as it is. Lastly, we're flying planes. There's several game modes for this, but really the one I care about is Island Flyover, where you're just free roaming through the entire giant island resort this game takes place on, with loads of goodies to discover and collect. As you pick up tokens from tourist locations, you unlock new abilities in this mode, like the ability to shoot balloons, which is a thing you can just try to get a high score on and shoot all of them, I guess. There's also a lot to explore here, and coming back to it fresh after not playing it for over a decade, I forgot a lot of the little nooks and crannies, so it was definitely fun to check it all out again with more or less fresh eyes. Overall, while Wii Sports Resort isn't innovating a whole lot over the first entry, it is definitely doing more while maintaining the core ideas that made it one of the most successful games of all time. It's a lot of fun, and to my delight, most of the games feel like they haven't aged much, still being as responsive and immediately exciting as I remember them. Join me tomorrow as I talk about my 130th favorite game, where I jump into another game that I was worried wouldn't hold up as well as I remembered. As a spoiler, it did, and maybe even then some. Plus, you can pet the cows.